Hello, good evening. Welcome to News 360 on TV3. We are also live on DSTV channel 279. I am Grace Hamwa Ajuman.
Hello, good evening. I am Noble Crosby and these are the headlines of the bulletin tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
EcoBank,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Coming up, NAT appeals for calm as concerns over this year's BECE results continue to spark nationwide debate and criticism.
NDC unveils manifesto and constitutional scrolls to preserve party history and educate future generations on democratic evolution.
Tonight, one person dies as Bugri Bridge collapses, isolating communities and disrupting movement in the Tamale district.
Later in business, energy analyst demands a stop to Ghanaians being forced to fund electricity company of Ghana's endless losses as union slams privatization.
Before we go tonight in international news, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu approves pay rises of up to 80% for members of the armed forces. Thank you so much for joining us on News 360. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. Thank you for joining us there as well. We can get interactive as we settle for the details.
Let's begin the bulletin from here. And one person has been confirmed dead while several residents have been left stranded after a major bridge collapsed at Bugri in the Tamale district. The disaster has cut off access to farms and essential services. Apai's correspondent Castro Senyala reports.
The bridge, popularly known as Bugri Bridge, is a vital link connecting communities in the Tamale district to the Boko municipality. It collapsed on Tuesday, August 4, after several hours of torrential rainfalls washed it away, resulting in the death of a commuter. The floods also destroyed several acres of farmland. The disaster has left residents unable to access markets, schools, and health facilities, prompting renewed calls for urgent action by the government.
From here to Boku, you cannot go. From Bugri to Pusga to you cannot go. From Bugri to Timpani to you cannot go. So right now we are just at the middle. No motor crossing, no car crossing. So we are just pleading the government to come into our aid fast.
The main road linking from Bugri to Bugri corner going to Boku, that brick has been collapsed. And then the road from Timpani to Garu has also collapsed. It means that the good people of Bugri have been left stranded, especially when it comes to health issues or market issues. So we are therefore appealing to the government, the leaders, the MCs and then the DCs, they should come to our aid.
Following the disaster, local authorities visited the area to assess the extent of the damage and assure residents of a swift government response. Deborah Alalbila is the assembly member for Bugri.
As an electoral area, we are cut off from the district capital, Timpani. We are cut off from access to Pusiga, our neighboring district, and also cut off from Boku municipality and the regional capital. We appeal for urgent intervention.
The collapse of the Bugri Bridge brings to 2 the number of major bridges in the district destroyed by floods. In 2025, a bridge linking the Timpani district to the Garu district suffered a similar fate. The district chief executive for Timpani, Joseph Mbila, says plans are underway to reconstruct the damaged bridges and restore movement.
We are not relentant. We are not going to sleep. We are not going to rest until these 3 major bricks are put back to good use. So we are going to reconstruct them. His Excellency the President is not sleeping. The Honorable MP is not sleeping. I, as their DC, am also working day in, day out tirelessly to make sure that these road nets are fixed.
Castro Sinyala, TV3 News, Tamale.
Well, from infrastructure concerns, we turn to education as the controversy surrounding the release of this year's basic education certificate examination results. It continues to deepen, with teacher unions, private school operators and parents expressing varying concerns over the outcome. Now, the Ghana National Association of Teachers is urging parents and members of the public to exercise restraints in their criticism of the West African Examinations Council. Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Opoku reports.
Parents, in as much as you may not be happy, in as much as you think that the results, maybe the results have, did not reflect your expectations and all that, let us tone down, help the children to manage their emotions, because already the children, I have seen some of them are disappointed, disgusted, and some of them are even saying they will not eat again. So if children are saying they will not eat, you are the mother, father, what do? You need to provide some kind of leadership for the child. Tell him now, look, this examination cannot be your last stop. You have your future to live. We need to give the children hope. Then the rest, we can take it up with WAEC. Let's see how we can get it done as a people. And I think everybody will be fine.
Meanwhile, tension is mounting between the Ghana National Council of Private Schools and the Ministry of Education, as more than 100 members of the council prepare to picket the ministry on Friday over what they describe as unfair treatment of private school candidates in the recently released BECE results. The release of the results have sparked anxiety and disappointment among many parents and students across the country. Private school proprietors also fear the development could damage the reputation of their institutions, affect enrollment and undermine confidence in private education. Executive Director of the Ghana National Council of Private Schools, Nana Kwesi Obenfo, says the association is demanding the establishment of an independent body to review and assess WAEC's examination and grading process. According to him, more than 100 members of the council will converge at the Ministry of Education on Friday, August 7, to press home their demands.
We have evidences that point to the fact that the learners were fully prepared, because most of these learners, before going to Form 3, we registered them in Form 2 to test their strength with the private BECE, and they all came out with flying colors. And so we believe that at this point in time, the results that is being given does not commensurate their effort. It means that the results were awarded. They weren't earned. If they were earned, they would have earned something that reflects their performance.
But the Ministry of Education has dismissed allegations that the government is discriminating against private school candidates. Press Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Hashmin Mohammed, says government remains committed to engaging private school stakeholders to address their concerns.
And once there are concerns, we need to interrogate it. But what I find very troubling is that examiners mark scripts based on the information available to them on the face of their answer booklet. And on the face of the answer booklet, I am not sure whether the answer booklet do indicate this is a public school student and then this is a private school student.
To some other stories tonight, the Ghana Armed Forces has grappled with a significant housing shortage for decades. To help address the challenge, the Ghana Armed Forces has embarked on a barracks redevelopment program. One of the latest projects is the newly completed Butler Barracks, which is expected to accommodate more than 2,000 military personnel and their families.
Butler Barracks is a newly constructed military residential facility located within Bema Camp in Accra. The modern barracks was built to provide improved accommodation for soldiers and their families. In June 2026, the Ghana Armed Forces began relocating troops from Ewak Barracks to Butler Barracks. The exercise involved the movement of military personnel, vehicles, equipment, and other logistics under tight security. According to the Chief of Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, the project is part of the Ghana Armed Forces long-term strategy to reduce the military's accommodation deficit.
Are places where the values of duty, loyalty, and sacrifice are sustained. Today, Butler Barracks joins that proud tradition and stands as our collective acknowledges of all sacrifices made. To all present here, your presence underscores our shared belief that the welfare of those who defend our nation must forever be prioritized.
Acting Minister for Defense, Dr. Kasel Atuforsin, said the government intends to build more housing units to accommodate additional soldiers and officers.
This project reflects government commitment to improving the welfare, the working environment, and operational readiness of our dear Ghana Armed Forces. Government of Ghana remains committed to completing critical projects, including the Aferi Military Hospital, while preserving and pursuing innovative and sustainable approaches to military infrastructure development.
The Butler Barracks project, together with the redevelopment of the Central Ordnance Depot, reflects the Ghana Armed Forces broader infrastructure modernization agenda. The project aimed to replace aging colonial-era barracks with modern housing, reduce the accommodation deficit, improve the welfare and morale of personnel, provide safer and more comfortable homes for military families, and strengthen operational effectiveness through improved infrastructure. Joseph Armstrong, Gold Alibu TV3, Bema Camp, Accra.
Now, from military housing, we turn to some politics. Now, the National Democratic Congress says preserving its political history through proper documentation is critical to helping future generations understand the party's origins, values, and contributions to Ghana's democratic journey. The call came as the party unveiled 2 publications chronicling its manifesto and constitutional evolution since 1992.
Political parties play a significant role in shaping Ghana's democratic history, yet much of their evolution remains scattered across archives and campaign documents. The National Democratic Congress says preserving this history in a structured form is essential, not only for institutional memory but also to educate younger generations about the struggles, decisions and milestones that have defined the party over the years. It is against this backdrop that the NDC has compiled the Manifesto Scroll from 1992 to 2024 and the Constitutional Scroll from 1992 to 2026. Speaking at the presentation, National Chairman Johnson Esiedun Ketia said, documenting the party's history is necessary to ensure future generations appreciate the sacrifices and ideals on which the NDC was built.
In our own small way, we think that the organization we have built for over 30 years, that is the National Democratic Congress, we need to record our past so that future NDC members will be proud of what we have achieved. They will know where the party came from and therefore will not find it difficult charting the path for the future.
The author of the publications, Israel Yaojanto, said the publications will provide researchers, students, party members and the general public with a comprehensive record of the NDC's development and democratic journey.
We learn to understand politics in Ghana, to understand ourselves, that we are one. The differences of tribes does not make us superior or less human being than the other. It's just a contest of ideas. It is not a war zone. We just share ideas, then we come together just to make sure that we get the right information, we advance learning and knowledge in Ghana.
The 2 publications will be officially launched on September 28, with proceeds from the sale donated to support the cardiothoracic and cancer unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
And the New Patriotic Party has assured members and supporters that its planned demonstration scheduled for Thursday, August 6, will happen with heavy security detail. Addressing the press to outline plans for the protest, national organizer Henry Nanabuache said the party is fighting against selective justice and what they deem as increasing criminalization of free speech. Christian Yali reports.
The New Patriotic Party says all arrangements have been settled with the Ghana Police Service for its Democracy Under Attack demonstration, which is happening on Thursday, August 6, 2026. It will begin from the Supreme Court all the way to the presidency or the Jubilee House. 3 petitions are expected to be submitted, but the NPP has warned persons it has gathered are planning to foment trouble during the process.
The demonstration will commence at 5 a.m. We will start to gather momentum just in front of the Supreme Court, the community center there, the space just opposite the Supreme Court. We will walk through the Moving Peak Ambassador Hotel Road. We will use the Efua Sunderland Ridge roundabout. We will continue towards the Akwaje interchange, and we will terminate at the main entrance of Jubilee House. We shall present 3 petitions. The first will be at the Supreme Court, second at the presidency, and the third, we will also send our leadership in Parliament with some elders of the party to send a petition to Parliament as well. We expect a massive turnout. We are being told that some people will be sponsored to come and cause problems, to foment trouble, to cause mayhem. You will be arrested and you will face the law. The official attire is black and red, or you can combine both.
The national organizer of the main opposition New Patriotic Party, Henry Nana Boakye, also indicated that the party has documented approximately 45 cases of what it describes as the criminalization of free speech under the government of President Mahama. He accused the governing National Democratic Congress of applying the law unevenly, alleging that individuals affiliated with the NDC have been shielded from 7 jail terms, while critics and political opponents have faced prosecution.
It will interest you to note that under President Mahama, we have witnessed what we will describe as the wanton suppression and criminalization of free speech. And it's a shame that President Mahama will be superintending over such suppression. It is becoming alarming and it's becoming frightening. Today, under your watch, we can count as many as 45 cases where people who are activists on social media, where journalists are being arrested.
Well, still with the New Patriotic Party, the NPP has questioned the government's decision to absorb 2 cedis on every litre of diesel for 1 month, describing the intervention as inadequate and unfair to Ghanaians who it says have been paying the 1 cedi fuel levy for more than a year. Addressing a media briefing, co-chair of the NPP's Policy Committee on Energy, George Kwame Abuaji, argued that the temporary subsidy offers little meaningful relief to consumers and does not ease the financial burden on households.
Even if the full 2 cedis reduction is passed through to the pump, diesel will still stand about 11 cedis for 11.4% above its January 2025 level. So let us be accurate about what this intervention is. It cushions part of the increase that has already happened. It does not reverse it, and it does not return households and businesses to where they stood 18 months ago. A consumer who has paid 1 cedi extra on every litre of petrol and diesel for more than a year now receives at best 2 cedi back on diesel for a single month and nothing at all on petrol. The 2 cedi reduction is not generosity. It is a partial temporary return to money already taken from consumers at midnight, while the levy that takes it continue to run. Foregone revenue is still a cost. On the basis of the earlier diesel program, which cost 800 million cedis over 2 months, this 1 month measure implies roughly 400 million cedis in foregone revenue. There is no free relief. The only question is who pays and when. We therefore put the following questions to the government. First, which specific margins, levies or taxes are being reduced to finance the 2 cedi diesel relief? And what is the total revenue loss? Second, has this been provided for in the 2026 budget? And what expenditure will be cut to offset it? Thirdly, what mechanism will ensure transport fares and prices of essential goods actually reflect the relief. 4. Will the 1 cedi per litre levy remain at its full rate during the relief period, and will costs previously transferred to consumers be refunded? And fifth, what objective trigger determines whether this intervention ends, continues, or is replaced?
And some road users have raised concerns over the increasing number of trailers and heavy-duty trucks that have turned the shoulders of the Tamale roundabout Ashaiman Highway into a permanent parking space. Many motorists say the situation not only poses a serious safety risk, but also contributes significantly to traffic congestion. Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe has the rest of the story.
From the end of the motorway through the Tamale roundabout and all the way to Ashaiman and beyond, long queues of trailers and heavy-duty trucks occupy both shoulders of the highway. The parked vehicles have become a common sight, leaving motorists with limited room to maneuver and increasing the risk of accidents. The drivers, most of whom are foreigners, say they have no designated parking areas and are therefore left with no option but to park on the shoulders of the road.
Are you supposed to be parking on the shoulders of the road? No, we're not supposed to park here. But it will not be our fault. We'll tell you, we don't get parked. We don't get parked. I'm told you are waiting for load. You don't have load. You don't have load. So you are waiting for a customer to call you? And to the add of fuel. Load we are supposed to take from here to Burkina or Niger or Mali or so. Now the load we are then give us. The money cannot buy fuel. That's why you can't park like this. We're supposed to park that inside, but right now there's no place there. That's why we are parking here.
Responding to the concerns, the municipal chief executive for the area said the assembly has made several attempts to curb the practice, including towing illegal parked trailers to the assembly.
The assembly became aware of the activities of the trailer drivers parking on the shoulders of the road at the, we call that place, the Tilapia Junction, or on the shoulders of the road around the overhead, the motorway runabout. So because they are parking on the roads within the Middle East and they are destroying the drains, we are trying to create a parking space within the Middle East for them. Aside the fact that we are creating a space within the Middle East, we went to the place there and drove them away and showed them a place to park temporarily.
The MC further called on the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority to create additional holding bays and parking facilities for trailers to help remove them from the shoulders of the highway. This year alone, several road crashes have been linked to vehicles parked on the road shoulders. The National Road Safety Authority has repeatedly warned against the practice, stressing that road shoulders are meant for emergencies, not as parking spaces. Despite these warnings, the situation persists, raising renewed concern about road safety on one of the country's busiest highway. Joseph Armstrong, Gold, Algo TV3, Ashaiman.
In more news tonight, nearly half of Africans aged 18 to 35 who are highly educated have ambitions of seeking greener pastures in another African country, United States or Europe, according to the 2026 Afrobarometer African Insight report. Now, the UNDP Ghana representative, who has described this as a failure of the global order, says African governments should focus on economic governance to prevent these movements.
The 2026 Afrobarometer African Insights report examines citizens' views on 5 aspects of Africa's relationship with the world: trade, migration, great power competition, global voice, and climate change. The findings confirm the familiar trend that the youngest and most educated Africans are the most likely to leave their home countries, drawing attention to brain drain and the declining human resource capital across the continent. More than half of young Gambians, representing 62%, Liberians 59%, Ghanaians 55%, Bissau Guineans 53%, and Tunisians 51%, have seriously considered leaving their countries in search of greener pastures. Young Malagasy 5% and Tanzanians 7%, on the other hand, appear much more content to remain in their home countries. The UNDP Ghana representative Niloy Banajer described this as a failure of the global order.
You wouldn't migrate if you found all the best of opportunities and possible your social aspirations are met. So here, this is where I think collectively as the global order we have failed. It's a development failure, most of all. Okay, in some countries there's war and crisis and famine, sure. But overall, most fundamentally, it's a development failure. So if we want to keep Africa's youth in Africa, we have to create the jobs and opportunities and social mobility.
The Chief Executive Officer of Afrobarometer, Joseph Asunka, says the report calls for realistic African collaboration to create economic opportunities for the continent's young population.
We know that young people are keenly interested in creating their own business. They want to be able to be entrepreneurs, to set up their own businesses. But your business can only thrive if you have a larger market. And so
Well, let's take you to Tamale now for a rather unfortunate story. And the family house of the late Tamale Central Member of Parliament, Murtala Muhammad, has been destroyed by a fire outbreak. Properties worth thousands of cedis have reportedly been destroyed in the blaze. 9 out of the 17 rooms in the house were also affected. Personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service have since brought the fire under control. This comes a day before the Thanksgiving service for the late Member of Parliament and 7 others who lost their lives in a helicopter crash.
Now, after 7 seasons of celebrating Ghanaians transforming lives through selfless service, MTN Ghana has launched Season 8 of its Heroes of Change initiative. The launch coincides with the company's 30th anniversary and Sustainability Month campaign, as MTN prepares to honor more individuals creating meaningful impact across the country.
From improving access to education and healthcare to creating opportunities through economic empowerment, MTN Heroes of Change has over the past 7 seasons celebrated more than 100 individuals making a difference in their communities. Now in its 8th season, the initiative is embarking on a nationwide search for people whose acts of service continue to inspire hope and create lasting impact. This year's campaign aligns with MTN's Sustainability Month theme, Small Actions, Big Impact.
We all know that we are in the connectivity business, but our belief is that everyone deserves the benefits of a modern connected life. And when we say that, we do not say that only in terms of what we do in connectivity. We also think about bringing others on board. And that's why at the MTN Ghana Foundation, one of the things that we do is focusing on how we can support education, we can support health, we can also empower people in business so that they can stand on their own feet.
To mark MTN's 30th anniversary, winners will receive significantly enhanced rewards. The overall winners' prize has doubled from 200,000 Ghana cedis to 400,000 Ghana cedis, and category winners will each receive 200,000 Ghana cedis, while finalists will also take home 100,000 Ghana cedis each.
The 100,000 Ghana cedis prize as an MTN Hero of Change was significant to the work that I do. And I believe that with this launch of the new Season 8 and looking at the fact that the prizes have been raised to almost 200%, we're just thinking, I think we need to come back for our change, but it's amazing.
Additional prizes will be awarded to individuals who nominate successful finalists, as MTN seeks to inspire even more Ghanaians to be the change they wish to see.
And a moderate to heavy rainstorm has been sighted over the northern half of Benin into Togo. It is expected that the rainstorm will propagate westwards to affect places in the north, transition and middle belt this evening and into the hours with varying intensities of thunderstorms and rain. Some areas are likely to experience strong winds. However, the coastline will experience partly cloudy conditions tonight. Mist and fog patches are expected to reduce visibility range tomorrow morning over the forests and mountainous regions.
Weather News segment is brought to you by Syntex Tank.
Obodu. The executive director of the Institute for Energy Research and Policy, Kwadwo Poku, says Ghanaians cannot continue to bail out a power distribution network that keeps creating losses across the entire value chain. His comments follow the Ghana Utility Workers Union's criticism of government's appointment of a transaction advisor for ECG's private sector participation, which the union described as an act of bad faith.
The energy analyst Kwadwo Poku argued that without major reforms to cut inefficiencies and revenue leakages at ECG, consumers and taxpayers will keep footing the bill for a system that is not financially sustainable.
We should definitely bring in some level of efficiency, let somebody invest money, and the person who invests money is the one who manages the company. Currently, we should all wait for the transaction advisor to bring its report and see the direction that it advises government to go.
Kwadwo Poku echoed ECG's technical and financial challenges, some of which are self-inflicted by the company. He noted that beyond internal balance sheet troubles, broader issues within the electricity value chain continue to strain public resources.
If you look at their financials that was published in their recent ended AGM, they basically got monies from FX gains. When we pay our bills, we pay it in cedis. When they now went and changed to pay dollars, because the dollar to the cedi had reduced, they got gains of up to 12 billion Ghana cedis in FX gains. They also, in their books, we have seen that they have a long-term borrowing of about 21 billion. If you look at the performance of the company in 2024, we would have expected for them to build on the momentum and the good performance they had in 2024. But the 2025 performance of the company is very bad.
The energy analyst stressed that until ECG fixes metering, billing and collection losses, any private sector deal will only transfer the burden to consumers.
Now, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has stated that youth unemployment in Ghana has remained concerningly high at around 30% among people aged 15 to 24. In its country report on Ghana, the fund said social conditions remain challenging despite existing safeguards.
The World Bank estimates that Ghana's poverty rate declined modestly to 37.1% in 2025 from 38.9% in 2022. This was driven by lower inflation and stronger growth in the agriculture and services sectors. The International Monetary Fund says unemployment, particularly among the youth, remains a major challenge. It indicates government's minimum-term national policy development framework for 2026 to 2029 prioritizes growth in labor-intense sectors to create more jobs. The IMF also notes that Ghana continues to face significant social protection gaps. The fund adds that while education outcomes have improved, secondary school enrollment remains below Sustainable Development Goal targets. It concludes that stronger social safety nets and more targeted social policies are essential to protect vulnerable households amid fiscal constraints and global economic uncertainty.
And now be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. Black Queens head coach Kim Lasirkegren says the team is unfazed ahead of their crucial final group game against Mali. Ghana needs to avoid defeat on Thursday evening to seal a place in the quarterfinals of the ongoing 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Ghana currently lies second in Group D with 3 points.
Me personally, I don't feel any pressure at all, not for a single second. I think for the girls, I can't talk for them, but they look pretty relaxed, and we have been, of course, talking about football and things like that, but we also try to relax a little bit and talk about other things. There have been team building activities, for example, that I think can help in this stage where we are right now. So I think it's more for us to be relaxed and enjoy the situation. We are in a good position that we know that 1 point takes us to the quarterfinal, and that's what it's all about.
Well, let's give you an idea of what the fixtures look like for tonight. Ghana do play tomorrow, but before that, there's Group C action in just a few minutes' time, where Egypt would be facing Nigeria, who themselves need a healthy victory and need to hope that results in the Malawi versus Zambia game go their way before the 10-time AFCON champions could possibly progress to the last 8 of the competition. You can get updates of those games on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. However, let's move on to some transfer news where Coventry City have agreed a deal to sign Ghana midfielder Caleb Urenchi from FC Northland. The deal is expected to be an initial £23.1 million and up to £2.6 million in add-ons. The 20-year-old midfielder featured for Ghana at the 2026 World Cup, scoring the winner against Panama, and has played for the Danish side since 2024. Although Urenchi is primarily a midfielder, he is known for his versatility, having played at right back for the Ghana national team. Last season, Urenchi played 43 games for club and country and scored 4 goals throughout the campaign. To more transfer news, where former Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah has arrived in Istanbul on Wednesday to complete his move to Turkish club Trabzonspor after leaving Premier League giant Liverpool at the end of his contract. Thousands of fans welcomed the Egyptian star upon his arrival at the airport. Salah left Liverpool at the end of last season after he spent 9 seasons at Anfield. He joined from Roma in June 2017, winning major trophies including 2 Premier League titles, the Champions League, the Club World Cup, and multiple domestic cups. He also finished as the Premier League Golden Boot winner on 4 different occasions and was named the PFA Player of the Year on 3 times as well. That's how we wrap up the sports segment here on News 360. Entertainment news is up next.
The house's priceless relics, including artifacts associated with the first Ekufu to ascend the paramount stool of the Kwapim traditional area. Visitors will also find photographs and exhibits celebrating the lives and achievements of distinguished sons and daughters of Kwapim, revered chiefs, and prominent personalities whose contributions have promoted the area's culture and heritage on both national and international platforms. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony, stakeholders from the Ghana Tourism Authority described the museum as a significant step toward preserving Ghana's cultural heritage. They expressed optimism that the facility will educate young people and future generations about the history, traditions, and values of the Kwapim people while boosting cultural tourism in the eastern region.
Edifice, like a family coming out with a museum and all that, it is not in Ghana. We cannot find it, and we are encouraging people, clans, families to come up with such edifices that can also be an attraction. It can attract both domestic and international tourists, and so it is going to mean a lot to us at GTA.
We are going out there to market it and let people know that when you are coming into the township of Kwapim, you do Bugri, you do Tetepashi, don't pass Odwira Museum, do Odwira Museum and the Presbyterian Church, so that you have the totality of the history behind Kwapim.
The creators of the museum say it is now open to public and encourage Ghanaians, tourists, researchers and students to visit and experience the rich history and cultural heritage of the Kwapim people.
It's a living museum, so whoever comes at any point in time, it will be open to. We are going to have time allocated to your coming and your going out. So it is always there.
The commissioning of the Odwira Museum forms part of the activities marking the bicentenary celebration of Odwira Festival, one of Ghana's most celebrated traditional festivals.
And Ed Sheeran has been fined after failing to insure his classic 1966 Aston Martin while it was being restored and converted into an electric vehicle. 35-year-old singer pleaded guilty after the DVLA identified the issue in December 2025. Sheeran said he believed the Durham workshop handling the restoration had insurance cover and that the car had not been driven on public roads since 2021. Bradford Magistrates Court fined him and ordered him to pay £100 in cost and a 266 victim pounds surcharge. Sheeran described the matter as a genuine administrative misunderstanding and said he would have paid the original out-of-court penalty had he received the notice.
In the international news tonight, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has approved pay rises of up to 80% for members of the armed forces in a move aimed at boosting troop welfare as the country battles insurgency, banditry and kidnappings. The salary increase comes as Nigeria grapples with multiple security challenges across different regions. Tinubu said his administration would continue to prioritize troop welfare and modernize the armed forces with weapons needed as well as technology to tackle insecurity. Still on the foreign front, Iran and Oman have reached an understanding on the geographic coordinates for the shipping routes through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson says that any such agreement between Iran and Oman would not by itself guarantee security in the strategic waterway. He described the negotiations between Tehran and Muscat as professional and moving forward, saying the two sides had reached mutual understanding on the geographical parameters of the route under discussion.
And that's our package for you tonight. Thank you for joining us. I am Grace Hamuajuman.
My name is Noble Crosby, and there's more news on our website, 3news.com. Join Alfredo Kanse and the Ghana Tonight team at 10 p.m. tonight. Good evening. Bye-bye.